Michael, this is not good news, buddy. There is no spinning how poorly Sony's Concord open beta went on Steam. Paul Tassi over at Forbes. While initial Steam numbers did not look great for the open Concord beta this weekend, the end result is even worse than I had anticipated. I expected at least some level of surge from its initial low player count as the beta got going and we hit the weekend. Sundays are generally when most games peak after all. That did not happen. Instead, its player count declined. Not good. This peak for a free open beta is way too low. The game peaked at, you ready, Michael? 2,388 players on Thursday. That wasn't even the weekend. Oh man. This is very, very low amount of players in the context of a new multiplayer release. And while I am certainly not expecting anywhere near a Helldivers 2 level of surprise success, this is very bad. It's even worse when you remember that this is a free open beta, and the final product for Concord, well, it's priced at $50 over here in Canada and $40 in the US. Yeah, that's not good either. Interest in the beta declined from day one. This may be the most concerning point, honestly. One of the positives that Concord has going for it is the gameplay can be, in fact, pretty fun. But this chart indicates, one, there was very little word of mouth getting other players to try, and two, those who were playing became de-interested quickly and did not stay around. That's the other problem, Michael. From its Thursday launch, player count declined every single day, and what should have been a peak on Sunday was its lowest day of them all, peaking at just 1,117 players. Ooh. What's going on here? Michael, what's your thoughts? What is going on? We'll get to me in a second. What are your thoughts?
Well, I would say the first thing, and I know you're on PlayStation, so maybe it's a little bit easier for you, but I was trying to set up the beta on Steam. We and I had talked about it. You got me hyped, and I'll be honest, just the Steam page for this game, for the beta, was just super confusing. There was no word of the beta until it officially launched, and then you could opt in, and then it let you download. So I don't know how many people had my problem, but it was one of those where we're talking, I go to the Steam page, no word of a beta. I go to Google, the beta's supposed to be out in an hour. Where's the beta at? And so that was the issue that I had, is it really felt like there was no communication, at least on the Steam front, that, hey, there's a beta this weekend, check it out, until the beta went live. And so it kind of hits on that point that you mentioned, that it felt like the word of mouth, at least on PC, again, I'll let you talk about the PlayStation side of things, but at least on PC, the word of mouth was just not there to tell players where they needed to go to get the beta, unless you really, really knew about it or really dug into it. And that already started me off on the wrong foot, because I felt like I spent an hour trying to set up a free beta when it should take me 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, it should be a simple click of a button and away you go, right? The game downloads and you're in. Like that is... Now, granted, we're a little bit different over here because we have the privilege of working with PlayStation. They sent us codes ahead of time. So I was already in, downloaded, set, ready to go. Now, granted, this past weekend, I had a very busy weekend, so I wasn't able to kind of jump in myself. Dude, we had a beautiful weekend here. I was not home. Like, I played 1 or 2 matches, and then that was it for me. And I was honestly just playing a couple other things, and then off for the rest of the weekend. But I'm not surprised. Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't think Concord's going to hit. I said right in our preview, we did the closed beta, got in access on that. We jumped in. I think we had a good time. But at the end of the day, we played this before. The only difference being is that some of the characters do have some personality that I believe in, that are set some of them apart from just a standard shooter. These characters have abilities and traits that pertain to that particular character, which I like. Every character is a little bit different, so it stands out and feels a little bit unique to me. The other side of it, though, and this is what I said in my preview, you can go check it out. Full preview is like 16 minutes. There's myself, Corey, and Steve talking about Concord, our closed beta experience. I said it's dead in the water. This game is dead in the water because it's got a $50 price tag when everything else that you're playing right now is free. You're coming into a market of free to play. Why are you putting a price tag on this particular game? The game modes we've already played. They opened up with the open beta, introduced a new game mode. We've already played that one before too. Like, there's still nothing really that stands out of a, wow, I've never played this before.
No, I think you're right. There's nothing that hits that price point, right? It's hey, this is our spin on the genre, but the problem is every other game in the genre, as you mentioned, is that free-to-play model with where they get you with a skin or a battle pass. That's kind of how they make their money. I think you're right. That's the other thing for me when we were talking about Concord. I didn't know much about it. Hopped in, looked at the Steam page. I'm like, oh, $40. I really think those hero shooters are going to be free to play with some monetization on the side. So I think you're right. I think that price point probably has to change quickly, I think, to sort of redeem this game, at least on the numbers we're just talking about here from their open beta.
Well, that's the other side of it, though. This was an open beta and nobody was playing.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't even out yet with a price tag on it. Here's your chance. Go check out our game. Dude, nobody played. And that is very disappointing. This is where Sony now follows up Helldivers 2 for their next live service experience. And it is dead in the water, as I stated. That is just not going to happen because they want to come out and say, hey, here's our game. Give us your money. And PlayStation's always been on the side of, hey, we have a premium product over here, and you're going to look to pay for it because you don't get experiences like Spider-Man, God of War, right? Horizon, as an example, because you're willing to pay for those games. Concord, I think, sets itself up to be in a different place. It's not there to be paid for in this manner. It is, hey, join the game. Here's our battle pass system. Here's a bunch of cosmetics. Don't gouge us like the First Descendant has. Just let us pay for what we want to pay. Now, granted, on the other side of it too is they're going to take our money now, and then all the cosmetics we just earn throughout playing the game. It's not enough now. Michael, that's just not enough in these days, right? The way we play now isn't the standard. This is going back to that old mentality of where PlayStation is at, and it's going to bite them, I think. And Concord's going to sink, which then makes me nervous of what happens to the studio, right? Does Firewalk, I believe it's Firewalk, do they stick around? Or does Sony go, hey, your game stinks and it's not doing numbers and you're now let go, right? Because we've seen as of the last... That's funny. It's been a little quiet on the, hey, this studio's closing lately. And this studio, I may have just jinxed ourselves here because I think if Concord doesn't do well, I think that studio's closed. I think that's where you have to fire on all cylinders. You need to be making the millions of dollars. And if it doesn't, and it makes me real nervous for the future of that team and how Concord goes from there. Does it move forward? Does it not? We will see. We still have yet to have an official release date, Michael. That's the other side of it, right? Oh man, so many questions. We want to know, were you part of the 2,000 people that jumped in over the weekend? Hit us up, itgtv.com.